Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to My Little Pony Make Your Mark, episode 8. The final episode we have so far, and it sucks that we're already at the end of this. But we will be having a holiday special coming out this month, I believe, in terms of when you're seeing this. I think this is coming out in November. Let me just check my schedules here. Yeah, this is coming out in November. In fact, this is coming out on November 17th. The holiday special might already be out by this point. Um, but I'm going to wait to put the holiday special out up on the channel until after this. So, or maybe if it is already out by the time like this comes up, maybe I'll put them on the same day or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But either way, this is the last episode of the Make Your Mark series for the moment. There will be more coming in the future next year. Just don't know when yet. But there has already been confirmed to be multiple more batches of episodes coming, as well as multiple more specials, which I'm all game for. I'm definitely excited to see more of this because this has been great. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what any of the haters say. Any of those people who are just like so stuck on G4 and think that this has to be exactly the same quality as G4. And it's not even just that it has to be the same quality, like overall. Like they think that this has to be the same quality as G4's best, but it has to be like that right off the bat, which is completely unrealistic. Because I think I mentioned this before, but if you think about it, G4, Friendship is Magic, was not that good at the beginning. In fact, there were even a couple early episodes that were straight up bad, like Ghostbusters. And again, I think I mentioned this all before, but I'm going to rant about it here for a second again. Because I keep seeing this all the time, constantly. It's like, if it's not as much your thing and you're just not as into it, that's fine. But there are people who are actively going out of their way to basically say it's bad and you should feel bad if you like it. There are people who are saying shit like that. And there are people who are trying to ruin the fun for others. It's like, I've seen people put up posts saying like, oh, Pip is so great, I like Pip, or I love Izzy, or Sunny's so cool and nice. And I've seen people literally go onto those posts and say, like, these are one-dimensional, stupid characters. It's like, how can you like them if you like the characters from G4 that had much more depth to them? It's like, I hate people like that who just try to ruin the fun. It's like, if you don't like them, that's fine. You are entitled to that opinion. But don't ruin the fun for other people. If other people like them and you don't, that's fine. It's the same thing with anything I just happen to not like, but I know plenty of other people do. Whether it be anime like Demon Slayer or cartoons like Rick and Morty. It's like, I may not like them. I may not think they're that good. But if someone else loves them and really gets into them and is super hyped for them, it's like, I encourage that. It's like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean you shouldn't. In fact, hell, I would rather you love something that I hate because that's a good thing for the people who created the show and worked on it and everything. It means that they do have an audience out there and that their work, all the work they put into the show wasn't for nothing. I would rather be an outlier. I would rather be that one person who's just not enjoying something while everyone else is, because that means that even if I'm not liking it, it's still doing its job, and these creators and crew and everyone working on it are still getting the benefits of that. And that's wonderful, because not every show is going to be for everyone. There are plenty of shows I love, I adore, that I know a lot of people don't. Same with movies, same with games. And I understand not everybody's going to be into Generation 5. Not everyone's going to be into Make Your Mark and all that. And I'm fine with that. As long as you just don't try to ruin the fun for everyone else. Let me love the shit out of Pip all I want, and don't try to ruin it for me, you know? And same with everyone who loves Hitch or Izzy or Sunny, or even those who like someone like Sprout. I've seen a few big Sprout fans come into the fray, and I support the shit out of that. I may not be a big fan of Sprout, but I love that people are. That's awesome, you know? And there's nothing wrong with having some discourse about it. There's nothing wrong with like talking to each other and explaining like, oh, I don't like this or I don't like that, but it's cool that you do. That's fine. The issue comes in when you start to be an asshole about it and it starts to go into toxic levels. Because once it starts to get toxic or controlling or gatekeeping or anything like that, it stops just being about a difference of opinion and starts being, bad. It starts being negative. And negativity, needless negativity, is what leads into some pretty terrible things. There's been all kinds of horrible shit that's gone on because of that. Remember, not every war in history has been fought for big things. Some of them have been fought over tiny little details. You got to remember that. Tiny little things that just either built up or was just kind of like this pushing point. Because people are fucking dumb. And in a lot of cases, pretty violent. And unfortunately, that's not a good combination. But either way, I'm not going to get into that can of worms here, because that is entirely its own topic. But the point is, I just don't like seeing people hate on others or insult others or try to take the fun away from others who are enjoying something. And unfortunately, G5 has seen a lot of that. A lot of elitists from the Brony fandom of old who are just being shitty. And it sucks. And again, from my perspective, I love this. Like, again, is it on the level of G4 right away? No, of course fucking not. When the New Generation movie came out, it wasn't. No one ever claimed it was. At least, not that I saw, really. Pretty much everyone agreed that it wasn't the same and it wasn't meant to be. Even with it being a follow-up to G4, it's its own thing and it's meant to feel like that. There's going to be a lot of differences, a lot of things that are going to be changed as it goes. There's going to be more technology, and the characters are going to be different, and the stories are going to be different, the way things are taught, the way things are paced. I don't expect a carbon copy of G4. And again, I definitely don't expect it to be on G4's best level right away. Like, I think that this is probably the weaker parts of G5 right now. It's going to get exceptionally better as it goes along once the writers start to get a feel for these characters more, start to develop them more, start to really flesh out these stories a lot better. It's going to get better. This is the very beginning of the series. Like, we're 8 episodes in. But it just annoys me, it's a personal pet peeve of mine when people do shit like this, no matter what series. Like when they did it with Legend of Korra, it bothered me, and they're doing it with this, it bothers me. Again, you're allowed to dislike it. I even encourage you to form your own opinions on it, even if that means they're different from mine. Just don't be an asswagon. It's that simple. It really is. If other people enjoy it and you don't, let them enjoy it. That's for them. You don't have to, just because you don't enjoy it doesn't mean you have to ruin it for other people. So I'll probably talk more at the end in the afterthoughts about my overall thoughts on the series so far and everything. But I will just say I personally am impressed. by what they're doing. I feel like it's got a very, very good start. And I'm excited to see how this batch ends. I'm wondering if it's going to end on any kind of big note, if there's going to be some kind of cliffhanger. Either way, I'm excited. And I'm excited for the holiday special as well. So, all of that being said, we're just going to get on with this and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. That was a great way to end off this batch of episodes. It left on a good point. It really built up some continued mystery with everything, but also answered something. Yeah, I'm explaining this poorly, but you know what I mean. Because we got a little more specific confirmation on the fact that Opaline is clearly an alicorn supremacist, to put it simply. She is an elitist who thinks that alicorns should not just rule over all the other pony races, but that they should rule through fear and control. That they have a natural birthright to do so, simply because they're alicorns. And this is probably bred from the fact that in the history of this Equestria and everything, the alicorns have always been the ruling class. They've always been the princesses. I think about all the alicorns we have in G4. We have Twilight, we have Celestia, we have Luna, we have Cadence, we have Flurry Heart. What are the commonalities? They're all royalty. They're all princesses. Even if a couple of them, Cadence and Twilight, were elevated to that role, they didn't start as princesses. They were given the title upon their ascension into alicorn status. They were still the ruling class. And so something about the entire idea of unity and equality in, especially, I guess, the way that Twilight and her friends expressed it in their time. Something about that upset Opaline. Again, probably the idea that the alicorns weren't the only ones in charge or weren't ruling by fear and control. And she clearly sees that completely differently. Again, the term alicorn supremacist is valid here. She sees the alicorn race as supreme over all others. Whether that be dragons or ponies or any other race, presumably, as well. And she believes that they should be ruling, so this is why she wants her magic back. To be able to take control. To be able to rule Equestria in her ideal image. Not within the ideals of unity and equality and everything that this series and even G4 touched on. And we see this most notably through her treatment of Misty. Misty sticks with her because Opaline saved her when she was a filly, and on top of that, raised her and is promising her a cutie mark, the one thing that Misty wants above all else. It's clearly the only reason she stays with her, because it's made very clear that Misty knows that Opaline is abusing her. She seems to very much understand that. But she's also, it seems, kind of to, even if just to herself, making excuses for it. It's like, oh, she can treat me like this because she's going to be giving me a cutie mark once she has her power back. It's like it's worth it in the end, and she's excusing this for herself, and it's really fucking sad because people like this exist. There are abuse victims in real life who tell themselves shit like this. It's like I understand that what my parent or guardian or boss or whoever, I understand that what they're doing is wrong. That I'm suffering because of it. That I am in pain because of it. Whether physical, emotional, mental, doesn't matter. But because they're my parent, but because they're my boss, again, whatever the case, these people just make excuses and try to justify it as just the way it is. And I've been there. I've done the same thing. I very much tried to justify a lot of abuse against myself when I was young, and a lot of pain I went through because, parents, they're my parents, they know better and everything. And I even tried to say oh, well, it's like they're just looking out for me, they're just doing their best to help me grow up right. And it's like I still love them and all. It's like I only wish I could have realized and come to terms with sooner that that wasn't what was going on. And so many people go through this kind of thing. So seeing Misty go through it's heartbreaking. It's genuinely heartbreaking because of personal experience with it, but also I've known so many people in real life who have gone through it. Friends of mine who have gone through shit like this with their own families or within their workplaces or whatever else. And it's not okay, and it's not fair, and it's not right. And yet these people who do this, they get away with it because they have that control over others. And it allows them to keep their positions of power and to manipulate others into thinking that what they're doing is in some way justifiable. And it's not. And so it's one of those situations where art is imitating life. And you see this all the time with so many different things. And it's on those occasions where it's something that is personally connected to myself, obviously it makes me care a lot more. Whenever I see a character going through something that I have gone through, yeah, my heart will reach out to them, and I will deeply connect with that character in a way that I wouldn't with another. And there's plenty of characters who have gone through stuff that I personally haven't, that I still connect to and still really care for. Denji from Chainsaw Man, good example of that. I didn't go through the horrifyingly terrible life he went through. I didn't go through anything like that. Yeah, I can still sympathize with him because I can understand how terrible that would be. But when it is something that I have gone through, it changes from sympathy to empathy. And when you have that personal experience that connects, it makes it so much stronger. And in a way, so much more painful. And it's no exaggeration to say that it's made Misty my second favorite character in G5 so far. Pip is still my favorite, and it's surprisingly close though. Like, Izzy was my initial favorite with the movie, but then with all basically the content after the movie and everything, Pip quickly overtook her for me, and it actually, well, I still love Izzy, and I love all of them. It very much created a gap. Pip was my favorite by a good margin. But then with this series, with the episodes that started coming out, and getting to know Misty a lot more as it continued on, it's just Misty very quickly surpassed Izzy for me. And like really closed the gap that was there between characters. She's definitely, without question, my second favorite. And again, it's close. It's not a wide gap anymore. Misty is very close behind Pip for me. And depending on where this series continues to go in the future, could easily surpass her. It is possible. We'll just have to see. Um, but it's like I've already got multiple pieces of Pip merch. I'm definitely gonna have to get some Misty merch when I can. Um, that's definitely gotta be a must for me. I wonder if she's gonna appear in the winter special. I actually don't know. I actually don't know if Opaline or Misty are going to be in that. But either way, um, so the episode was mainly though about the fact that Misty was trying to kidnap Sparky, which we knew that was going on. We knew that was a thing that had been set up, and so we knew that was going to happen. Um, but she ends up getting stuck in the Bright House because Sparky is proving to be too much trouble for her, and she can't like really get him to take him back. He kind of creating these Home Alone like traps for her to get through, and which, by the way, when she does end up like going through all of those traps, like my God, that was majestic. That was like needlessly majestic. Like even Sparky was like watching her, like ooh. It's like, girl, hell yeah. I mean, what else do you say to something like that? Just hell yeah. That was majestic as fuck. Um, but yeah, so she's trying to get that under control while Hitch and the rest of our main five were trying to find Sparky because from Hitch's perspective, Sparky had just disappeared. Sparky was gone and no one could find him. They couldn't find any trace, so they're looking, and everybody's looking in their own way. Unfortunately, there's very little proper communication between them, and the things that they're doing aren't really helping as much as they could be. Pip's plan to get the word out on social media was actually a phenomenal idea. The problem is that Izzy was interfering with that. Because Izzy was kind of created this almost like one pony band kind of situation, except it was like showing things that, you know, Sparky likes, like cookies and bubbles, and it was all about like just blasting those out of different horns and whatnot, just to try and lure Sparky in. And every pony was getting like invested in that on social media, and Pip like was like, yeah, I kind of get why. It's like that's fabulous, but at the same time, it was keeping her from getting the word out about Sparky. And on top of it, Zip and Pip were flying all around and everything, and was making Izzy dizzy. Rhyme unintended, but it actually worked out perfectly there. But on top of that, like they were all just getting in each other's way. Everyone was messing each other up. No one was really having luck, and it was just continuing to ramp up the anxiety on Hitch, who kind of went full on vigilante, Batman style kind of deal going on there. And it's like, okay. Which was short lived. He got snapped out of it, but he was just like, he was so stressed, so anxious that he just kind of lost it for a second there. Even recruited the two royal guards to help him, which is like, all right, that's a thing. Um, but they do eventually find him because Misty's unable to contain him. She does manage to get a little bit of his dragon fire, which gives Opaline a little bit of power, but it's very fleeting. She needs more. She actually needs Sparky himself. And so it's like that plan of capturing Sparky is still the main plan. That's still continuing. Um but yeah, it's really fascinating the kind of stuff they're building up to here. Like we got like little hints of the fact that Opaline and Twilight have a past with each other. There's all kinds of theories about that I've been seeing, such as one theory about Opaline being Twilight's one of Twilight's apprentices or something. Um, but it's going to be interesting to see where that actually goes. It's really good setup, and I'm glad that with this first set of episodes we didn't learn everything. There's a lot of people who almost had this expectation that we were going to learn a lot more than we did, and I feel like it's better to have that mystery um, continue through as the series goes along, to not learn everything at once, because then it would just feel like, one, bad exposition, but also it would feel kind of forced if you just like pushed it all in right away. You definitely need to balance that out and just pace it out. Um, so I think they're actually doing the right thing by doing so. We're getting little bits of information at a time, and it's going to keep feeding into this. Because remember, the season's not done. We got more batches of episodes coming. I think it was like 24 to 26 episodes for the season. Um, but yeah, just overall thoughts on these 8 episodes we've got so far. Really love it. Like, again, as I said before, if anyone doesn't like it or it's just not for them, that's fine. Just don't ruin it for the people who do. I really loved it. I love the characters. I love Pip. I love all of them. I love Misty especially. I love the stories they're telling, a lot of the slice of life stuff, but also things connecting and building on each other. It's a really good way to handle this. We're even getting some side characters that are semi being focused on and being built up a little. Like, we know Jazz and everything. We know various other characters here and there. Um, Posey, for example. I'm trying to remember all of the names. I don't remember the other one's name in the boutique in Main Melody. It's Jazz and someone, I can't remember his name. But either way, we're getting these characters, and they're going to start connecting more as it goes on. Again, this was only 8 episodes. I just feel like too many people expected way too much out of the first batch of 8. It's like, really? Like, even with a movie and a special beforehand, it's like, those were mostly just setup. This is the actual series, and this is still just the beginning of the actual series. Give it time. It took Friendship is Magic a bit of time to really get as good as it did as well. Like, yeah, the first episodes were interesting enough to keep our attention and make us want to see more, but let's be honest, they're not the strongest episodes of the show. And I don't expect these to be either. I mean, I love these, but I also expect it to get much better. So, yeah. Once again, we will have the holiday special as well. So that will be coming, if not like right away when you're seeing this, as soon as possible after. I don't know the exact date it comes out. Maybe I could check. Maybe I should actually check that. Winter Wish Day release date. Okay, it's November 21st, and you're seeing this on the 17th. So it'll probably be up on either the day of or shortly after. What day is the 21st? November 21st is a Monday. So yeah, you'll probably see this. For you, it will be next Monday. So that makes sense. So yeah, you'll probably see this then. And yeah, I would love, 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 love to hear your thoughts on this. Even if they're different than mine, even if you don't agree with me, even if you think that there's more problems with the series, as long as you're just acknowledging that they're your thoughts, your opinions, your viewpoints, and you're not trying to ruin anybody else's enjoyment of the series, please feel free to share. I encourage that. I would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, so the next thing to note is what is going to happen in terms of schedule from here. So, with this being over, is it going to be replaced? Or will the slot just stay solely for Spy Family at the moment? And the answer is the latter. It is just going to go back down to Spy Family. We're going to go back down to the one show in this slot. And yeah, I mean, there's other stuff that's coming out. And one thing that I know is coming out this month, November. Again, I'm recording this in October, but still. Another thing coming out this November is Dragon Prince, which actually would already be out by the time you're seeing this. But that's actually a donation reward. So that has to be put in a specific slot. But Dragon Prince will obviously be gotten to. But yeah, so this will just be going right back down to one show in this slot, and that will just continue to be Spy Family's second core for now. But once we do come back with more actual episodes of Make Your Mark, we will get right back into that pretty much right away. So, even if we have to, like, force it into a slot again. Either way, like I said, tell me your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.